My next patron question is from the Cinematic Bandicoot, who wants to know if an upcoming movie franchise will be pulled off. What are your thoughts on Warner Brothers' animated Cat in the Hat movie serving as an introduction to a Dr. Seuss cinematic universe? A major criticism behind these film adaptations is that the books are too short to be stretched into feature-length movies. It makes one wonder how much material there is to work with, since Thing 1 and Thing 2 are getting their own film. It's also late to the party after companies like 20th Century Fox, Sony, and Universal Studios failed at starting and maintaining their own cinematic universes following the success of the Avengers. Warner Brothers itself is still licking its wounds from two failed cinematic universes, the Snyderverse DCU and the scrapped Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe from Scoob. Netflix attempted something similar when they adapted the Butter Battle book for Green Eggs and Ham, the second serving, but the series ended shortly afterwards. Plus, there's no Seussian equivalent of Loki, Thanos, Doctor Doom, or Galactus to team up against. TV shows like The Wubbless World of Dr. Seuss and The Cat in the Hat knows a lot about that work with a limited material. Even the recently announced Netflix shows like Redfish, Bluefish, Horden, and The Sneetches seem to be self-contained. How can a Dr. Seuss cinematic universe exist when there's not a lot of content to work with? I will say I was surprised when the trailer for the animated Cat in the Hat movie was released and what the premise would look like, because I assumed it would just be another adaptation of the book with the Cat in the Hat helping those two bored children on a rainy day. However, it looks like it's going to expand on the cat's purpose and have him help multiple children, which is one way to deal with the shortness of the story. Like the question mentioned, Warner Brothers Pictures Animation is already working on a Thing 1, Thing 2 spin-off movie, and the trailer appears to be establishing them as their equivalent of the Minions. However, the Minions movie was made because of how incredibly popular those characters became in the first Despicable Me movie. We don't know yet how audiences are going to respond to the things as depicted in this movie. Another Dr. Seuss movie they're working on is an adaptation of All the Places You'll Go, which is a surprising choice for a feature film. It's not even the first attempt, as TriStar Pictures and the producers of the live-action Super Mario Bros. Movie previously tried to make an adaptation in the early 90s. The plan for that film was also to include several characters from the Seuss stories like the Cat in the Hat, but it never happened. So I'm curious how the movie Warner's is making will turn out. The notion of crossing over several Seuss characters is of course not a new thing. Dr. Seuss wrote an animated television special titled The Grinch Grinches the Cat in the Hat, which, you guessed it, had the Grinch meeting the Cat in the Hat. There was also the stage musical Seussical, which was primarily based on the Horden books, but it also included the Cat in the Hat, Yordle the Turtle, and Gertrude McFuzz, and nods to books like the Butter Battle book and McElligot's Pool. There was even an entire section about the Lorax included in the original Boston tryouts, but it was cut before the Broadway premiere. Of course, those were one-off specials and shows, while Warner Brothers is attempting to build a cinematic universe. The trailer for the Cat in the Hat movie suggests the various Seuss characters could be working in this organization, and that's how they come together in some way. As for what could be a major threat they might have to go up against, I feel there are quite a few candidates. Yordle the Turtle is the most obvious, as he's an authoritarian with a thirst for power and everyone being beneath him. They can do a lot with that character as the potential big bad of this universe. Or they could just create their own original Seussian villain with some evil plot of some kind. I think the most likely scenario is that we see the characters like the Cat and Horden going to various locations from the books and helping others with whatever problems they're facing. Funnily enough, an idea I had many years ago for a Cat in the Hat adaptation would have the first two-thirds of the movie involve the cat suddenly popping up and trying to find his purpose by traveling through the various worlds of Seuss stories and encountering the likes of the Sneetches, Daisy Head Maisie, and then eventually the Things. And then the final act would be a straight adaptation of the book with him helping the two children. It's even possible this upcoming animated movie will follow something along those lines. But is there enough material for an entire cinematic universe? After all, Dr. Seuss wrote only so many books, and I think it would require a lot of creativity to utilize all of them before this franchise possibly peters out, like previous cinematic universes have done. I guess one model could be the Lego movies. While Batman got his own spin-off movie, it was mostly self-contained and did not really tie much with the first Lego movie. Same with the Lego Ninjago movie, so maybe the Seuss-verse will be akin to that. Plus, it's still early days, and we don't know yet how exactly it will be constructed. I am predicting the Cat in the Hat movie to do well thanks to what a recognizable character he is. It also helps that he's not been in a movie in over 20 years, so the market has not exactly been oversaturated with him and caused audience interest to wane. If audiences respond to the movie, I can definitely see it turning a decent profit, and we'll see where this possible Seuss verse goes from here. Thank you for your question, Cinematic Bandicoot.